In the past few hours, the Foreign Minister Penny Wong has released a video statement telling Australians in Lebanon that they should leave immediately. The warning comes as fears grow of a full-scale war in the region following major developments there over the past 24 hours.
One of Hezbollah's military commanders in Beirut was killed in an Israeli strike, and a Hamas political leader was killed in Iran. Big developments. We've got Cabinet Minister Katy Gallagher on in the next hour, but first let's go to Nicole Hegarty at Parliament House and also bring in our US Bureau Chief Jade McMillan. Nicole, good morning to you. What's the Foreign Minister Penny Wong said?
Good morning, Lisa. This is really a strengthening of this message that the government has been trying to get out in the form of do not travel to the region since October and now leave immediately, really stressing the fact that while there may be commercial flights available now, they may not last. The concern here relates to the number of Australians that are still in the region. Now, of importance to note there is the fact that many who are there are unfortunately all too familiar with conflict in the area, and many have been waiting it out to see what happens, thinking that there would be a reduction and things may be resolved sooner rather than later. Penny Wong's message is clear that do not wait around. The advice is do leave now while you still can.
Beirut Airport could close completely if the situation worsens. And if that happens, the government may not be able to help Australians still in Lebanon to evacuate. You may not be able to leave Lebanon for an extended period.
Penny Wong really seeking to get that message across that now is not the time to wait and see what does happen, what could happen in the future, but to focus primarily on leaving now with the ability to help Australians out of the region being further complicated if those commercial flights are no longer available. Lisa?
Thanks, Nicole. Definitely a ramping up of the message. And I want to go to Jade McMillan, who's in Washington for us. Jade, good morning. What kind of reaction has there been there in the US?
Well, both Iran and Hamas are blaming Israel for the killing of this senior Hamas leader in Tehran. Hamas says that Ismail Haniyeh was killed, that a building that he was in was struck directly by a missile. Iran's supreme leader is vowing harsh punishment and says that it's Tehran's duty to avenge his death. Israel isn't commenting at this stage, but the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, has previously said in the wake of the October 7 attacks that he'd instructed the country's foreign intelligence service to act against Hamas leaders wherever they are. And Israel has claimed responsibility for that other attack. You mentioned the killing of a Hezbollah commander in Lebanon. His death has now been confirmed. Israel had accused him of being responsible for an attack on a football field in the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights that killed 12 people. So there are real concerns in the region and more broadly at the moment of the risk of further escalation, of the risk of a wider conflict. The United States insists that that outcome is not inevitable, and the White House has also tried to downplay concerns about what these developments could mean for the negotiations that are still underway to try to reach a ceasefire agreement in Gaza. Here's National Security Council spokesman John Kirby.
As we're standing here today, they're still at that work, and we've got a team in the region, and we're going to keep the shoulder to the wheel. It's that important, and we still believe the gaps are narrow enough to be closed. We still believe the details can be hashed out. It's too soon to know, based on the reporting over the last 24, 48 hours, what impact any of this is going to have on the ceasefire deal. It was always complicated.
Now, the United Nations Secretary General has described both of those strikes as a dangerous escalation. He says at a time when efforts should be focused on trying to reach a ceasefire in Gaza and trying to secure the release of all of the Israeli hostages. The UN Security Council is also holding an emergency meeting.